We will see a December cut, I think. I was just chuckling at how categorical he was about saying no to those two questions. He really didn't want to entertain any political questions. If you saw the press conference, reporters asked him once, twice, thrice, his views on the election, on the administration. He's steering clear of all of that. And the cut itself today was not a surprise. I think they will go in December. He originally seemed to open the door to a small chance of a pause in December. But then remember, he said, we still think we are restrictive. If you are restrictive, you are cutting. They are going in December.
Weigh in on Jay Powell and how firmly he sits in his post as, of course, the head of the Federal Reserve. You think he'll be able to sit out his term?
Absolutely. So I've known, and I'm not basing my views on this, but I've known Jay a little over the years. And the Fed takes its independence very, very seriously. We've seen this a little bit before. If you remember, in 2018, President Trump in his first term used the bully pulpit to argue that the Fed should not hike, that Powell was not doing right by his economy. And the Fed kept hiking, including in December 2018, even as equity markets at that point were falling. The Fed will absolutely make sure that its independence is not compromised to the extent that it can. And that means Powell will serve out his term. And if there is pressure to push him out, I think he will sue. He's made it clear that that's what he'll do.
Ajay, very good morning. Good evening your time. Thanks for joining us. It's Sam here. I mean, Fed Chair Jay Powell also didn't want to assume the Trump impact here. He sounded pretty confident on that dual mandate. But I'm just curious, what impact do you think Trumponomics could have on the trajectory of that dual mandate and what that will mean for subsequent easing? Because, I mean, we've had guests here who have said just this week since we got this election outcome saying that they've revised now down to just one cut next year.
So we've revised down to two cuts next year for the same reason, which is that eventually the Trump campaign promises, if actually implemented, do mean that on the tariff side, you get a bump up in inflation because of goods inflation. The economy gets a little bit of a boost because you extend all of the tax cuts. But all of these things are going to take time, remember. You won't even have the people in place to do tariff proposals until the U.S. Trade Representative is confirmed by the Senate. Realistically, for both tax cuts being extended as well as for tariffs, you're probably looking at the middle of next year. And, the next 6 months, the economy is baked in the cake. It's a reasonably strong economy. It's slowing a little from 2024 and 2023, but it's still pretty healthy. So they will go slowly on the Fed's,
Yeah, so I suppose it's a bit of a honeymoon period for now, Ajay. I mean, what do the markets do in the meantime? Because, I mean, given the performance we saw this week, they seem to cheer the fact that we actually got an outcome, not so much what the outcome was, but that we didn't have this sort of expected volatility or uncertainty that many in the market were thinking. And then we got, of course, the FOMC meeting. I mean, have the markets sort of behaved in a way that you would have expected this week, given what we've got?
Yes. If you look at my weekly deck from Monday morning that I sent out, I turned overweight equities after being, neutral for the last 2 to 3 weeks for precisely this reason. Exactly what you said. There was a collective exhale post November 5th that there was going to be a clean transfer of power, regardless of who won. The Trump aspect does make a difference. I don't want to downplay it. It is true that markets think that he's more light touch regulation. Financial services, for example, have been one of the bigger outperformers. Markets do think that he cares about stock market performance. Remember in his first term that the former president, the president-elect, would often refer to stock market performance. So I think that played a role. But now we are settling down. Over the next couple of weeks, I think markets will start to focus far more on what his policies are. And until they get clarity, will probably be range bound.